G'day everyone and welcome to Hayes Homestead. If you're new to the channel, allow me to give a brief introduction. I'm Tobias, and together with my wife Danny and our beautiful daughter Indy, we bought this 50+ acre farm just over a year and a half ago, and we haven't stopped working on it since. Since moving in here, a lot has changed. We got cracking on a lot of jobs, cleared a lot of dead trees and cleared up quite a lot of the land, but there's still a lot to be done. Since moving in, we've knocked down the old chicken coop and built a new one in its place, but unfortunately the area around it has been left to be overgrown, so that's something that we're going to have to tackle. I asked some burning questions.
How could I be so stupid?
But then of course the answers become apparent.
I am an idiot.
Now I have to admit the introduction to this episode was originally much different because I had planned to get onto jobs that I never ended up getting to. The reason being is because unfortunately we lost a beloved member of our family, Thor. Our handsome little man, our majestic little dude, had been sick for quite some time. Sadly, due to his age and how much weight he had lost, he just couldn't fight anymore and we sadly lost him. Then just a couple of weeks after that, I lost another friend of mine, a human friend, and that was my motivation shot. I didn't fancy getting in front of the camera or the computer. I just wanted to get on with some jobs and deal with my grief. But then as luck would have it, a new bundle of joy bounced into our lives. So although she doesn't make many appearances in this video, she will be appearing in videos after this, so allow me to introduce the newest member of our family, Tala. Tala is our golden retriever puppy and we got her at 8 weeks old, and she will be appearing in lots of videos after this and has done a great job at starting to heal our hearts. So watch this space for more of Tala. While waiting for more coats of oil to dry, as you well know, on the homestead there is always something to be done. Well, while that timber dries, I am going to slash down this area just here next to the chicken coop because I plan on putting our veggie beds here this winter. Yep, you heard me. This winter, veggie beds, compost bays, the lot. It's all going in here. So why not make a start while I have time to kill and get this area cleaned up. Well, we carved a path through. As you can see, all of the crap that was in the ground here. Just that I didn't move when I dismantled the coops. So, I don't know if you can see this. Oh, yeah. I don't know if you can see that, but that's chicken wire in there. And it's probably part of this monstrosity that I just could not get out because the other tractor that I was using at the time just didn't have enough power, but now I've got the big one. So yeah, you've met your match. Tomorrow we'll just get up and get at it. I want this all cleared and slashed down. Time for more office furniture. This time we're moving on to the shelves. You might have seen that there are some wires protruding out of the walls, and that is no accident. Nope, they are going into these shelves, and that means I'm going to need to drill some holes right up the guts of them so I can feed these wires out and then wire in these pendants. So let's hope it all goes to plan. For the window seat, we just got another coat of oil left to go on, and that should be this almost ready to put together. And then of course, while that dries, there is still more work to be done. I do like to do a bit of clearing while something's drying. It kind of spreads the jobs out a bit. Bit of woodworking, bit of gardening, bit of woodworking, bit of gardening. Kind of breaks the day up a bit. As you can see, when you have a TriStar cutting head on the end of your brush cutter, there's not really much that can stand in its way. So this is a pretty useful tool to have around, especially when you've got a metal cutting head on it, because it just shreds everything. Now, without loading up the quad bike or the tractor with some heavy machinery that will ultimately cause me to add a couple of hours to this job, I thought just get a post pincer and make some holes, because I've really got to stick a gate in here. This is a gap between mine and my neighbour's block, and I kind of want to fix it up before any animals arrive, because, well, needless to say, they will most certainly escape through here. So it's on off rained all day today, and I kept trying to find an opportunity to get out and do this, but I just caught up doing little chores and catching up on tiny little things that I needed to do. Well, that's all good, that's what these days are for. Tomorrow though is going to be 40 mil, so it's probably not going to be so much working out here, but it will be more office furniture stuff, because that is the last coat of oil on those panels, so we should be able to start fitting some things, or dry fitting. Anyway, yeah, we'll just have to wait until the rain stops. We'll put these posts in. I'll probably put another little post down there to brace this one, because this is what the gate will be hung on. 750D, 1.5 high, cool. Over here, bedrock, not so cool, so that will be our latch post. We'll probably put a little bit of bracing there. We'll put a little bit of bracing there, and then that should keep us going for easy, I don't know, 10 years, whatever. Yeah, I mean, as long as it's fixed, it's all good, because that's not my property, that's my neighbour's property, and this is a gate between us, so it's actually just a thoroughfare at the moment. With the weather being pretty miserable outside, it was time to get back in the office and get those shelves on, because the oil had dried. So we're going to whack some brackets up and start throwing these babies on, because we're going to run the wires in, get the lamps all wired up. So there's a fair bit to do, but I think once these are on, it's going to be quite a transformation. So my original plan with these LEDs were that they were going to go in some sort of box storage solution on the wall, only to quickly realise that actually the door would hit them, and the door opening I think is probably more important than storage being right here. So how do we fix this? Well, I'm going to run a shelf above this one, and these will go through the front of the shelf shining down. But how do I get this wire to come out up here? Because now that my plans have changed, I need this to be up here. Well, it's pretty hard to put a wall chase or a piece of yellow tongue in there and try and get it to poke out of this hole. That will just be a big old mess. So the solution that I've come up with is we will make a hole up here. Then we will feed in a little nut and use neodymium rare earth magnets to essentially drag it down the wall and out of the hole that we already have, tie on, pull it through. Sounds simple? Sure, but as we've already established, when I think things are simple, they often turn out to be an absolute circus. So enjoy the show, because this is probably going to go absolutely sideways. Let's go. Now, the reason I knew a piece of yellow tongue wouldn't work is because I already tried to do this once before in this wall and nearly jabbed all the insulation out. I also made the hole way too big, moving the yellow tongue around, so I figured that this would be a much easier method. Well, sideways it did go, because the nut and the magnet weren't strong enough to get through the wall. I ended up tying the magnet onto the piece of string line and then getting this aerial with a magnet on the bottom out from the shed, and it worked pretty well. So I was pretty chuffed with this, because it meant I didn't have to cut massive holes in the wall to push a piece of yellow tongue through. So, result. Now with the LED stripped out of the way, I can finally get this shelf on, pull the wires in and start screwing everything off. This is really starting to come together. So while looking for a few things like nuts and bolts and stuff next door in the barn, hidden amongst all these old paint cans, I found this. Like, I wonder what's in it. It's pretty heavy, so don't know. Typewriter maybe, or something like that. Let's open it up. Nailed it. Good guess. Okay, so we've got the ute packed up, and I think I have everything. So, really beautiful day, as you can tell. Lovely. Ooh, 21 degrees outside, which is really nice. So we can get out there, get these fence posts in now that the rain has stopped, because I want the concrete to set. But yeah. So I set off with a couple of posts and a dream. Well, sort of. It's good that we get to these jobs and knock them over when we've got a few minutes to spare, because there are about 100 of these little jobs just hanging about, and it's nice to cross a few of them off when you get time, because that's just one less thing to worry about. Some might say a little bit overkill on the bracing, but I think you can never be too safe. Now it's time for a bit of mixy, messy, and we are almost there. We'll get this concrete in and then we'll come back and hang a gate. With that bit wrapped up, it's time to head home. Then, of course, the next day I head out with the drone on active track and set off to fit this gate post. Once this is on, that's it, job done. Next. So we've got to get the old hardware off the gate here. I'm not going to use one of these through bolts. I just bought some new hardware, some new post caps as well. It's just going to be easier to install on the square post, especially because they're not as thick as that. So yeah, that's really good. Reuse the old gate and keep going. Lots of jobs to do once we get the gates on. We have to get this manky fence attached to the post on both sides, and that should be this job done. So it's good that we cross these jobs off, because there are a few of these like small odd jobs around the place, like plugging holes or, you know, fixing a bit of fence before we get onto the big fencing stuff. So that will be happening in a couple of weeks. I have ordered the materials and that'll be a big job. Let's see if I can rope some people in to help me. Anyway, there's a fair bit to do and I want to get this done so I can get back to the office and start putting more brackets up, because I really want that job finished. Right, it's time to hustle. Let's get it done. For a job that I pretty much eyeballed, I think this turned out all right. The gate doesn't swing in any one direction, so I'd say that's success. On to the next. Imagine my joy this morning on this particularly cold autumn day when a white van rocks up in your driveway with something that you weren't expecting yet. Well, Ta-da! This, if you don't know, is a portable sawmill, Alaskan sawmill, chainsaw sawmill, whatever you want to call it. This is not to replace the sawmill that we want to get. We will still get that, but that's just a project that's just so far down the line. I really want to be able to get on to cutting up some of these fallen trees and using them for things other than firewood. One thing I do want is these big Jurassic Park style gate posts for the front gate. And I don't want to wait 12 months to mill up a piece of timber when I really need to get on to that project soon. This will help me learn some skills, make some mistakes, so I don't break a really expensive piece of kit. Instead, if I break something, hopefully not me, but it will be something less expensive, and I will learn from that, and that will help me not make those mistakes in future. So let's get this thing unboxed, let's get it set up, and we'll go through how much it costs. Let's go. Before we continue, I just want to point out that I paid for all of this with my own money. I didn't get any discount, I don't get any kickbacks. Jono & Jono are a pretty reputable established brand in Australia, and their reputation precedes them because I found their service to be amazing. What did we get? We got the 48-inch chainsaw attachment, and this was $210. Then we got the 9-foot first cut rail for $170, and then an additional 3-foot rail for $69. Including postage, which was about $40. All up, we spent about $490 on all of this. So, what do we get for our dollar? Let's open her up and have a look. So already out of the box, I'm really happy with the quality of the stuff. 3mm box steel, which is good, and then 3mm box aluminium. So everything feels really weighty, doesn't feel cheap and flimsy, which is a great start. I mean, the only thing, if you're being really picky, which I'm not, but if you were really picky about your welds, some of the welds, they're not like the cleanest welds in the world, but if you could do better, honestly, you'd probably make one yourself, wouldn't you? So if you're looking to buy a chainsaw sawmill, I'm gonna say so far so good. So it comes with a little instruction manual with pictures, and then this little toolkit with all your nuts and bolts and keys. So I'm really happy with this, so let's get it together because there are so many cool projects we can do with this. I'm pretty excited. Although nothing that we can do immediately, we're definitely going to find something to practice on because we got stuff to do. So let's get this built because I really have to finish off this stuff in the office. I didn't expect to be putting this together today, so let's try and get this done quickly as possible and get back onto the stuff that we're meant to be doing. Now, I'd just like to point out the instruction manual provided, although if you've got a little bit of common sense, you could probably work it out, is not the most straightforward instruction manual that I've ever read. But, I mean, realistically, if you couldn't figure it out and put one of these together, maybe not the safest that you'd be operating one. So all up, this took me about 30 minutes to put together, a little bit of faffing. I got these two the wrong way round, very easy to just swap around and just move the perspex and the handle and everything. Honestly, so quick to put together. I'm really happy with it. It's quite weighty, it's really sturdy, it's a really decent piece of kit. If you are going to buy one though, I will say do your homework because they recommend you don't use anything below a 90cc on this. I run a Husky 585, which is about 87cc, and it puts out, I think, 7 kilowatts of power, and I can go up to a 32-inch bar. I only have a 24 on at the moment. That's quite important. Don't get a chainsaw that's not going to be able to cope with the work you want to put on it, and definitely don't go beyond your maximum bar length because you're just going to wreck your power head. And this thing is about $2 grand. It was a big investment, but really needed for our homestead. So you definitely don't want to be breaking it. Having said that, I'm so chuffed. I am super pumped to get into using this. Think of the things that I can actually build using one of these. I've got to get back to the office because it really has to be finished. So we'll have fun with this later, I promise. Anyway, let's go. As the weather cleared up that afternoon, I figured for this next job, I might set up my station with a bit of a view. Just quite nice because winter's coming and these opportunities will run out pretty quick. The length of the lighting cord is a bit too long. We definitely have to make it shorter so it doesn't sit on the desk, which is pretty easy. We just have to cut some of the cord and then reattach the fixings. So these have a bootlace kind of crimp on them, which I don't have, but luckily I do have some solder. So what we're going to do is we're just going to put a bit of flux on it. I'm going to tin the ends so the sort of stray wires don't get loose, and then we will basically put some new heat shrink on it, although I'm not going to replace it with black ones because we're going to hide the cables completely. We should still use color coded heat shrink, so if anyone else looks into it, they know which is which is not a problem. You're not going to see it. So yeah, lovely day. We got set up outside so we can just enjoy the weather, and then once these are on, we can light them up, and that will be that bit done. Just got to finish the desks. While I finish this up, Danny is out doing some other chores. She doesn't mind jumping on the mower, and she put on her best joggers to mow the front lawn, although I must admit sometimes she is easily distracted. But nevertheless, she does a good job.
How could I be so stupid? I'm an idiot.
So when I was putting these fittings on, it was like the last thing I was doing in the afternoon, and I wasn't even rushing it, I just maybe wasn't focusing properly. Putting the bayonet fitting onto the actual shelf itself, I've managed to send a screw right the way through the wire and shorted the whole circuit. So the only thing I can do to fix this is to take all the screws out, pull the whole shelf off, run a new wire into the connection that's in the wall, and then put it all back together again. I blew the plug down here. I should have checked with a multimeter the first time. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. This should teach me a lesson. Pay attention to where your screws go. Nothing else I could do, I just got to fix it. So annoying. All right, well, shelf comes off. After that circus, I went inside, had some dinner and got some rest because today was a big day. Today we fit the office furniture in place properly. And I have to say, I'm pretty chuffed with how well it fit together once all the screws were in. Pretty snug. The desk, I drilled out some cam locks so I could cam lock everything together because, well, cam lock is very easy to fit, and if I ever really want to take it apart, it's going to be easy to take apart too. So cam lock it is. Now all the furniture's in, it's really starting to come together. The only thing left to do is put the architrave and skirting on, and it's almost done. Just want to finish off this furniture with some nice smelling oil, and I think that's it. Now we can start furnishing and decorating the place. Plus I get to build about 3 years of accumulated Lego, so this is going to be fun. Paul Walker, what's going on? Oh man, someone's already done this one. Oh, oh well, I guess that's the Lego done. Overall, we are really happy with how this has come out. I think the finish on the timber, the floor, the desks, the walls, everything has come out exactly as I had pictured it. I know some people might have wanted to go for a floating shelf, but actually I really like brackets and I was going to go with floating shelves at first. But when I saw these brackets, I changed my mind because I quite like the look of brackets on walls. It helps break it up a bit. You can probably tell whose desk is whose. Danny's desk with all the books, my desk with all the toys, and Indy's desk will be done a bit later on when we can go and get some more timber panels for her desk. And we will also put some drawers underneath the end of each desk, but we can save that for a wintry wet day when I can't be outside working and I have to do something indoors. Perfect job for that. So that'll be stage 2. At the end of the day, I really love how it has come out. The blackout blind, really helpful for editing during the daytime. It blocks out all the light and it means that if I do need to come in here and do some work, I can block out the light outside and dial in and get that stuff finished because I am very easily distracted, as is Danny. So the space is actually working really well for us and we find ourselves coming over here in the evenings to do some work. Indy will just sit and play in her little nook. And I can tell you honestly, even though it's a darker color in here, no joke, it looks bigger now with the darkness and the trim and the lights than it actually did before with the lighter color. And of course, as soon as the office was finished, the timber for the fencing arrived, which means that we got off this project and straight on to the next one. There is really no rest here. There is always something that either has to be done or we want to get done. But this is good. Things are progressing. As you can imagine, there is a lot going on at the moment. The timber for the fencing has arrived, which means we have to start cracking on with that straight away. So that's obviously to get ready for the animals that are coming. And on that note, we are going to see the animals tomorrow, which we're very excited about because they're very adorable. Well, I got the office in as promised and we're starting to use it. And it's a really nice space to work in. I understand it's not everyone's cup of tea, but the dark, moody space it's got a really nice sort of atmosphere for editing and stuff, which we really enjoy, and that was kind of what we wanted it for, so we really enjoy using it. Thanks very much for watching, guys. I really appreciate your support. If you like the video or if there's anything you wanted to see, then let me know in the comments. I do have some special videos coming up very soon about what farm equipment you need to start a homestead and how much they cost, and also how big is a homestead, because you might want to look at getting 10 acres, but do you know how big 10 acres looks like? Do you think you could handle 10 acres, or is maybe 5 enough? So those are a couple of videos that are coming up and I am currently working on in amongst all of the things that I do and editing the videos. So you just have to bear with me, but they are definitely in the works. So really appreciate your support. I'll catch you in the next one. See you around.